Good evening and welcome to our live crafting session. My name's Jenny McCormack. It is Thursday the 6th of July 2023. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator and I'm based in the market town of Brackley, which is in Northamptonshire in the UK. And we're most famously known for Silverstone, which is literally not even 5 miles up the road, where we are currently holding the British Grand Prix. So there's lots of comings and goings in Brackley, and you can't usually get a hotel for love nor money. And it's a really great time for the economy. It brings a lot of people into the local area. So, welcome. If you're joining us for the first time, do say hi. It's lovely to have you join us. If you've been watching and joining me before, you'll know that I upload these videos to YouTube. So if you're watching on YouTube, then a warm welcome to you. Thank you for joining us. And if you have any questions about what we're doing or what we've created or what I've used, then don't hesitate to pop a comment in either the comment section on Facebook or on YouTube, wherever you are watching, and I will get back to you if it requires an answer or a comment. I do try and get round to all of them. Occasionally they do slip through the net, for which I apologise. But obviously if you have any urgent queries, don't hesitate to just message me or email me for a more direct response. Okay, so we are using Textured Floral. We've used the stamp set yesterday and straight out of the box, and I created this card in the pinks using Bumble Bath and Berry Burst to create this pretty card. The sentiment says birthday blooms for you, and then I've stamped the same flower on the inside and on the envelope itself. So we're going to have a colour change today, and I'm going to switch out to oranges and yellows rather than the pinks. And I'm also going to introduce you to the dies. So the dies require a die cutting machine, but that allows us to cut out the images without requiring scissors. So the dies cut out all of these main images. So there's dies for each of these, with the exception of the dots. And there are also these detail dies that don't coordinate with an exact stamp, but also you can use them to mix and match. And there's 3 detail dies. There's this one here, like so. There's this one, and then there's this finer one here. So really great for backing foliage. You can cut them out in any shades of green to get the effect that you want. So what I thought we'd do today is just do some stamping of the flowers and die cut them and then pop them onto a layer. And I've chosen, instead of using white, I'm using Lemon Lolly as our base today for this for laying onto. And then I've got Calypso Coral, which I happen to have got the ink pad for, and this is probably going to go onto a white card. So I'm going to be working on this, but I'm going to stamp the images first. I haven't actually decided if I might stamp them on Lemon Lolly or white. So let's start with white, and then I can always move them to Lemon Lolly afterwards. And what I'm going to do is use some of our new masks. This is our pack of masks called 4 Square Decorative Masks. And if I get these out, you can see them in a bit more detail. Let me put them on a darker piece of card. So we have this one. Let's move that out of the reflection. So we have this one here. Hope you can see that It's really pretty. And then, if I can get these out as well. So there are 4 altogether. So there's this one with the little crosses and dots on. If you can see that in detail, if I bring it up, hopefully you can. There's this one, like so. And then finally there's this fun little one with the little tiny little squares. And these two certainly will work together. You can place, if I put these together, you can place the little dots and crosses in the centre of those elements if you wish. And I wonder if they'll also work with that one. No, it's probably a bit too busy for that one. Hi Monica. It was lovely to craft with you this morning. Thank you. So this is the textured floral. So I'm going to try with the white and die cut, and then if I'm not happy with that, I'll switch to lemon lolly. So this was the card that we made yesterday, and I'm going to, this was just straight stamping. So today I'm going to add the dies to the mix. So I have got Lemon Lolly, Daffodil Delight and Calypso Coral as my colours. So let's have a look and see. And then I'm going to use a little bit of the mask for the background. So let's use this large flower to start with. Into my larger block. There we go. And I'm just going to stamp it as is in Lemon Lolly. And remember, if you are using a new ink pad, you might need to move some of the ink to one end if it's very inky. Just depends on your ink pad and your colour. Okay, so I'm happy with that. So what I can do is ink this up again and add some colour, either with the doorbell, which is what I did yesterday, or you could use a blending brush. So I've got a blending brush here, and I'm going to add a little bit of the Calypso Coral. So just put this on screen, hopefully you can see that. So this paper is going to be cut out. So, okay, so I'm just literally tapping a little in the centre, and then you can just brush a little in the corners. So you can use blending brushes, you can use daubers, you can use a sponge, really whatever you happen to have to hand. So you might be able to see a little bit of that colour on there, like so, but hopefully you'll be able to see more of it when I stamp it down. Now I've got a fairly good flat surface, so I'm not needing to use one of our stamping mats, but if you've got a slightly uneven surface or you haven't got any protection on your table, then I recommend you use one of our stamping mats or a piece of foam. And if you haven't got anything like that to hand, you could use a mouse mat. Turn the mouse mats over so you've got the foam side facing up, and that's particularly useful if you're using photopolymer stamps. Okay, so that's really pretty, I'm happy with that. Let's do another one, and I'm going to clean it in between, mainly so that I don't contaminate my Lemon Lolly ink pad with my Calypso Coral ink. Okay, so inking that up again, and I'll probably ink up a few of the smaller ones as well and then just die cut them all. So here is that, and again Just adding it. You could just add it to the edges, you could add it just in the middle, entirely up to you. And you could also ink the whole stamp this way. You get a slightly different look, but you could certainly do that. Okay, let's pop this one on here. There we go. So you get a really pretty soft effect, and a lot of that colour shading is inbuilt into the stamp. Okay, let's switch out to one of the smaller stamps. Let's add this one. Hi Cat, I hope you're well. And for this one I'm going to switch out. I'm guessing you're not on the bus now, Cat. Okay, so this is Daffodil Delight. And again I'm going to add a little bit of the Calypso just on the edges this time. And pop that in there. So that's Daffodil Delight with a little bit of Calypso Coral. You can see the difference obviously between that and Lemon Lolly. Plus my Daffodil Delight is a brand new ink pad, so you've got a double combination really. Bless you, Cat. Yes, I'm very well, thank you. And I'm glad you're okay. And I'm just going to do that one again. There's that. They are really pretty, aren't they? And I'm very much a floral person. If you followed me for a while, you'll know that. I do love florals. They just sort of bring a feeling of, I don't know, happiness and all of that stuff. Right, let's stamp that one on there. Okay, now I think what I'm going to do with this one is I'm actually going to stamp it again just with Daffodil Delight. Just going to stamp over what I've got there. I may or may not use it. I just want a slightly darker variation. So there we go. Okay, that is really dark, isn't it, in comparison? Alright, so my plan, here's the plan, is I've got Calypso Coral and I've got Lemon Lolly. I might have to switch that out now, I've seen this, but I'm going to die cut these and then add them with some of the foliage and then use a little bit of the mask around the outside if I need. So I might change that to white. Oh, I've got a magnet there. It's pinging all the dies. Let me just pop this through the die cutting machine. It's just here. So I hope everyone's had a good day. It's been slightly weird weather here. It was sort of nice and sunny, and then it went cold, and then it went sunny again. Right, let me get the other dies out. Would be helpful, wouldn't they? Grab those. So there are 13 dies in this set altogether. So here are the remainder. I cut out all of the shapes. So I want this one to do that one there, like so, and then this one to cut that one out. So I'm just going to run that through. Bear with me 1 second. Let's find my plate. But it's turned out really nice now, which is always good to have a nice evening. I do like to take Cassie dog out onto the green when it's like this. Okay. Put that through the die casting machine, although I did that without my glasses, which may or may not have been a good idea. Okay, let's have a look. Whoops. So, sorry. We've got that one there. This one here I obviously didn't put very straight, but let's cut the others out. Might put a little bit of tape on this one to give it a fighting chance. And what I can do is I can actually put that one back in. So because it moved, I can reposition this like so to cut that edge off. Oh, hokey cokey. Oh yes. Yes, it's a little bit like that, isn't it? In, out, in, out. Yes, it's been alright here actually. We had just a couple of very small showers, but luckily not enough to, you know, soak the washing. Okay, so there's that one. And then we'll just decide which ones to use. Okay. Sorry, this is off camera. There we go. That's better. There's that one there. And then this one, and I may or may not need this one, but let's cut it ready. So today we went live with our updated clearance rack. So as I posted earlier, if you like a bargain, there's lots to be had in the clearance rack. So do check that out. I posted a link earlier that will take you straight there. And so there's stamp sets, there's dies, there's embellishments, but it's just while stocks last. I dropped that. Once they're gone, they're gone. Okay, there we are. It's a little bit better. I'm going to trim that slightly because it wasn't quite in place. There we go. Alright, let's have a look. So, I've got lemon lolly even here. And I've got my flowers, and then I'm going to add some of these behind. Right, let's have a look at the white. Yeah, I think I prefer the white, but I can put it onto Calypso Coral. So let me just trim this down. And then I'm going to, so this is going to be 9.5 centimetres by 13.85. So that's going to go onto there like that, but I'm going to use the mask to add a little bit of detail around the edges. So let's find a smaller piece of grid paper that will do the job. Okay, so I'm thinking I'm going to keep this similar layout to the one that I had before, which is sort of this bottom corner here. Like so. And these are going to tuck in. I haven't decided which ones of these I'm going to use, but what I want to do then is just put the mask and do a little bit of blending around the outside, and I think I'm going to use this little pretty one here. I don't think I've used this one. So I've got the same ink that I was using, so Calypso Coral on here. Just going to make sure this is relatively straight on my card. Just holding this down, but if you wanted to, you could use some tape to hold it in place, entirely up to you. And I'm just going to apply what's left on my brush through the mask. And I love using masks for backgrounds. If you find that you've got an empty bit on your card, this is a great way to fill that in. So I've gone all the way around the edge, and I'm just going to have a look and see before I do anything else if that's going to work as it is. Yeah, I'm happy with that. And it's always best to do a little bit and check it, a little bit and check it. And this is just going to frame my flowers inside. There we go. And then what you need to do is just wipe that off. You can wipe it with a wet sponge, you can use your chamois, or you can just rinse it under the tap. Otherwise, when you come to use the mask next time, if you're not careful, you'll get that ink everywhere. So let me show you that effect around the edges. So this is one of a set of 4. It's called 4 squared, but we do have other ones from the last catalogue as well. So this now gives me that nice frame around the edge here of my flowers, and let's see which ones of these I'm going to use. So you can just trim these down and use the bits that you want. So for example, I don't need all of this stalk, so I can just cut this, and I'm just sort of piecing them to see how they look at this point. And then you can use the bottom part of the stalk. Okay, you can just trim any excess off like so, or shall I use the finer one? Let's have a look and see. So I've not stuck anything down, I just want to see which looks best. Maybe a combination of those two would do the job. So before I put all of that together, I'm going to add a sentiment across the bottom here. So this is going to be a landscape card, like so. You could easily make it portrait and just readjust these accordingly. like so, or you could bring it down to the bottom and have your sentiment at the top. This looks quite nice actually, as I've got a bit of white space here at the top, that would work. Or you could move this up and have your sentiment underneath. Oh, too many choices. I think I'm going to put my sentiment up above. So I've got, from the set, I've got Birthday Blooms for You, which I used yesterday, and Every Thought of You Makes Me Smile. That might be, yeah, it's a little bit too wide and it's clashing with that there, so let's use the Birthday Blooms, and that will just fit in that whiter space. So let's put that on first, like that. So I'm going to stamp that in Calypso Coral. You want a relatively deep colour so that you can see your sentiment. There we go. Take that out of the way for the minute. It's a bit of an odd one because the Birthday Blooms is at an angle, but the For You needs to be straight. Okay, and then I'm going to pop these across the bottom. So I think what I'm going to do is 1, 2, 3, like so, and then tuck in some of the leaves underneath. So I'm going to pop these on dimensionals, and I find if you get a setup that you really like, before you move it away, just take a photograph with your camera or your phone, and then when you take the pieces away you can refer back to it. I've done that many a time where I've taken it off and then it doesn't look the same when I put it back again. So I'm going to pop these on with dimensionals so I can tuck the leaves underneath. And obviously you could stamp the leaves under as well if you wanted some extra layers. I don't need the small dimensionals though. It's like using all the last of the dimensionals this week. Okay. So I'm going to put this one here, and again just put it down lightly until you've got it in position. Yes, it is slightly oriental because this looks like an oriental screen, doesn't it? You're quite right. So for this one I only need dimensionals on this right hand side here, and so if you do that and you're not quite sure, just put a mark on it. Yeah, so you know that's the only place you need dimensionals. You can hear the birds chattering outside. That means the cat's probably nearby. There we go. Like so. This one here at the bottom. Let's see which way around that needs to go. I think you could put it any which way really. And then that means I can tuck these underneath. So I'm going to trim this down like so, have a look. I'm going to take this piece off here. So don't be afraid to cut up your foliage pieces and make it work for you. Let's have a look. These look a little bit too fancy. There's this one here. Something like that. So I've got the two different types. So I'm just going to put a little bit of glue on the bottom. I've had this one up here, didn't I? Like so. And then it's up to you whether you affix this down. Sometimes I quite like it if it's loose, as long as it's got glue here, and then it just casts a shadow, looks a bit more interesting rather than just lying it completely flat. And let's just see actually whether I might just use the same style. That one, let's have a look, see. So you get the 3 different sets of leaves with this, plus the ones obviously cut out. Now it looks too busy. So maybe that, and just a little piece. Thank you for the, I can't do if they're hearts or thumbs up, but thank you anyway. It's much appreciated. Okay, let's stick that one. Oh, that looks quite pleasing, like that. So just a little bit of glue, and I do prefer to use wet glue for this purpose. Go, that feels more balanced. And then I can tuck maybe this one in. Just in there, like so. Yes, either of those. Just trim the bottom off. So a complete colour change from pinks yesterday to oranges and sort of, well, coral it is. Okay, let's make sure that's down. Alright, let's put these pieces away. So there's my working piece, definitely better on the white in this instance. This is going to go onto the coral piece, and then I'm just going to add a little bit of bling, and then that's going to go onto a white card. But I will find some working glue. Let me just grab that from my bag. So I had coffee and cards in Bicester this morning, which was lovely. And then I've been out all afternoon, so I only got back in about 6:30. So I haven't unpacked my bags. And if you're still watching Monica, it was a very expensive trip to the tyre shop. Okay, happy with that. I am going to stamp the inside of my card, so let me grab that ready. And the envelope. I think this would make a really pretty birthday card for anybody. And also you can just change the colours up to suit your recipient. You know, if they like purples, then do them pinks and purples. I'm a bit of a yellow. I do like yellow and I do like pink. Okay, so this is going to go onto there, but I'm going to stamp the inside first, just in case I make a hash of it. And then I can turn this around and use it for something else. Let's go. What did I? Yes, I did use this, didn't I? Right, just make sure if you've done multiple colours that you clean that off if you're going to ink it back in a light ink. It's easy to forget, and then you'll wonder why you've got a very pretty imprint in your light coloured ink pad. So this is just here, so I'm just going to use some of this again. So you can use blending brush, you can use a sponge dauber, you can use a sponge. If you're careful, you can use the edge of the ink pad or an ink spot. An ink spot is one of our small ink pads, like so. Just going to put this in the corner. Like so. And I think I will stamp one of the leaves as well. So this is Granny Apple Green that I've used for the die cutting. So I'm going to use Granny Apple Green, but I'm going to stamp it off. Let's do the envelope first, so while I've got that ink pad out ready. You do like that effect, it's very effective, isn't it, Kat? Right, clean this one off. Find the envelopes. I've got vanilla. And one. And I'll add a little bit of bling to finish off, and we're done. Okay, so here's my envelope. Just move that very carefully out of the way. And I might use the mask with a little bit of colour on as well. So I like to fold the top of the envelope up so I know that I've got it the right way round. And also it stops you catching the back of the envelope, which you can do if you're stamping something that goes from the bottom to the top. So we're just adding that in again. Just going to put this here, like so. It's really pretty. And I just think we need one on the back as well. Hi Zana, I hope you're well. Thanks for joining us. I can't believe it's Friday tomorrow. I don't know where the week's gone. So I've closed and finalised bookings for my customer craft day, so I'm really looking forward to that. And I'm also, when I get my delivery from UPS tomorrow, assuming he can get through from the Silverstone traffic, then I will finalise my projects for my July class in a box. So it's all systems go. Right, I finished with, no, I haven't finished with that yet. Finished with that. Let's just grab Granny Apple Green, but I'm going to stamp it off. Not in that set. Here it is. There we go. So I just want to add some foliage in here. That is all. And I've got some birthdays coming up. So this will be perfect. Yes. So it's a nice watercolour look, this set. So stamping off just to get a lighter edge. There we go. Oh no! Oh Santa! Bless you! An infection in your jaw. Oh, that's horrid. Bless you. Well, I hope they give you some more antibiotics. You don't want to be carrying that around, do you? Bless you. I'm so sorry to hear that. There we go. So there's my foliage, and on the back, and then let's add foliage on the inside. So again, I'm inking it up, stamping it off. That one there. And there we go. And my final touch. Oh, antibiotics. Can't get a dentist either? Oh my goodness. That's all you need, isn't it, really? So I'm bringing back this mask, and I'm just going to add, so I'm going to put it over the whole area. I'm not going to ink it up over the whole area, just going to put it around here. But I always recommend put the mask over a wider area, because it's tempting just to do it like that, and then you wonder why you've got a solid line. I moved it a bit too soon, didn't I? Let's see if I can find my way back. There it is. Looking for the little dot. There's a tiny little dot in there. There we go. So just a small amount, put it in this little corner as well, like so. I don't want it to overtake, I just want a little hint of that on there to coordinate with the area we've got around there. And just because I can, I'm going to do the same on here. So again, make sure you're covering a wider area, and just mind you don't turn the mask over while you've got the ink on it, otherwise you'll end up with an inky pattern whether you like it or not. There we go. And then just soften it around the edges, and then you won't get a harsh line. There we go. It's that in the corner there. And what's really quite nice, if you have the time, is to take a mask and an envelope, put a post-it note where your address would go, and then mask over the whole rest of the envelope, and then when you peel it off you've got that little white bit left over. Right, I'm happy with that. Let's put it together and just add a couple of gems and we're done. So this is called Textured Floral. That's my finished front of the card. There's my inside with a little bit of that. I'm not sure you can see that. Hopefully you can. Let's apply some glue to the back. Let's get the working one, hopefully. Yes. There we go. And as I say, don't forget to wipe off your mask when you've finished, so that it's nice and clean, ready for next time. Okay, so I'm just going to turn that over, press it down. Oh, bless you, cat. Thank you. There we go. So leaving these slightly loose does give a nice little element of movement. And then finally, with any luck, I'm going to pop some gems on there. And let's see what I've got. These are some retired ones. This is actually pale papaya. Oh, and there's some Calypso in there. And there's 3. There we go. Somebody was watching, weren't they? Thank you. Whoever it was. So I love these because they're nice and flat. 1, 2, and 3. There we are, all finished. So this is textured floral dies and textured floral stamps, and there's my finished card. Hope you can see that okay. So thank you so much. Your sticker on the side, you ink. Oh yeah, that's a good idea. That's a very good idea. I don't really know what I've done with mine now. Oh, it's on the floor. It's fallen over. But if you use a dark ink, obviously it's really obvious. But it's a good idea. Use a sticker on the side that you've inked. Yeah, perfect idea. So there we go. So thank you so much for joining me. I hope you like the design. I've had great fun with it. Another one of my favourite colour combinations. This was yesterday, so quite different in the pinks. And then here we've added the mask with the detail on the outside. We've cut these with the coordinating dies and then used just 2 of the different types of foliage that the dies cut out. So you have this one, you have this one that I've cut up partly, and that one there. So 3 completely different types, which is perfect. So thank you so much. I'm off to have a cold drink, I think, this evening. Catch a little bit of the tennis at Wimbledon, and then go and walk Cassie on the green and give her a good run around with the ball. So thank you very much for joining me. Do take care, and I'm not planning on being here tomorrow, but you never know. And if I'm not, then have a great weekend. And don't forget, we have an updated clearance rack with some real bargains, 60% off, including some stamp sets. We never used to have stamp sets in the clearance rack, but do check those out. And we also have the online offer of, for every £45 you order, you'll get a £4.50 voucher sent by email that you can use in August. And we also have our brand new online exclusives. So if you're on my mailing list, I will be sending out an email tonight or tomorrow with all of those details on. A bit like buses, nothing to report for a week and then it all happens at once. So I apologise if you're overloaded with emails. Thank you so much, everyone. Do take care and appreciate your support and company. Have a great weekend. Bye for now.